But I know when Singer first came out, and I looked at myself, well, I've been building them for 20 years. What are you talking, what's so special of this mob?
Well, welcome to a new Dave's Workshop Tours video. And strong words there from Ben Fargeter of Veltmeister down in Melbourne South. This is the second part. If you haven't seen part one, please do go and click on the link above. For the rest of you, let's go inside and have a look about.
So this one is a 2.7 Carrera, so mechanical fuel injected 74, 2.7, left-hand drive. Again, it has been restored and it's really here to get running.
Paint-wise, is that original?
No, the whole car. The engine's been rebuilt, gearbox is rebuilt, new paint. No, it's...
What is this colour?
I'd be lying if I knew. I think it's possibly Viper Green.
Right.
But a lovely little car.
I'm sorry, year and...
1974.
74.
2.7. So it's basically a the old 73 2.7 RS. It's the exact same car. It just has square bumpers.
So this would have had the ducktail in 73, would it?
Well, if it was... So that 73, the earlier cars had the small bumper bars,
sure,
like the early 71 cars.
Yeah.
So if this car had the long bonnet, small bumper bars and a ducktail, in specification it would be identical to a 2.7 RS, which is the famous sort of 1973.
Sure.
Yeah, and in 74 they basically changed the bumper bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but the fundamentals of the car is identical to a 2.7 RS.
And the design on those was just to simply satisfy the American market.
That's exactly right, crash protection. Yep.
Yeah. And the rest of the world had to suffer, although...
Well, now it's pretty
now
cool.
It's actually... It's weird, isn't it?
It is.
It's like...
It is. And I mean, these, I'm not going to say that's always been for... But SCs were really... The 2.7s and 3-litre SCs were really a forgotten child for a long, long time. You know, they were worth nothing. There were thousands of them were produced, and they were considered very, very normal and ordinary and really unloved. And lately we've been restoring them. The fuel system is probably one of the only things that lets them down a little bit. But when they're right, they're right. They're just great, strong little cars, yeah.
And the Australian public are known to keep hold of things for a longer time, because presumably they cost so much.
Well, I think the other thing is we're very lucky in Australia because of our conditions. You know, we've got no salt on the roads, there's not too much humidity, and so we've got some of the best naturally sort of preserved cars in the world.
Okay, what have we got?
And then this one is a little bit different. This is an 1982 928S, which is, again, it's not restoration, but it's here to be brought back to life, the full running condition where it's comfortable and clean inside, and yeah.
It spent some time garaged and...
Yes, I think it was driven a lot in its earlier years, and then I think more recently driven less.
So it's recommissioning.
Recommissioning, yes. Recommissioning. So it's got some interesting things. Some time ago, we fitted these GT3 brakes to it. So it's not a dead standard car. It's got quite firm suspension, and big brakes.
Or?
No, it's a manual.
Oh, crikey! That's not very common in Melbourne. Most 928s I see are. Well, this used to turn up on car sales.
It used to be an auto, and we converted it to a manual.
Right, okay.
Again, when we did the suspension and the brakes.
Yeah.
So it was all about the driving experience. And when they're like this, they're fabulous cars. You know, I mean, weight's their enemy compared to a 911, but they're actually surprisingly fun to drive.
It is, like I say, you put 928s in car sales, and it's auto. There's something...
Yeah, I don't know the percentage, but certainly a huge percentage were automatic.
Yeah. In Australia?
In Australia, yes. Yeah. A lot in the UK were manuals. Yeah. A lot of the manuals that you see here have been brought out from the UK. Right. But cool.
And last up, and under wraps for the very good reason that the owner hasn't had time to do anything to it, is a rather crusty SC.
This is some nutty owner. Yeah, it's mine.
Tell me about it.
It was an accident. So the long story is, I being a Porsche nut, I came across a gearbox which was a Roof gearbox. So Roof were the first people to build a 6-speed G50 box before the factory.
The gearbox, that was developed for the Yellowbird, though.
Yes, correct. Yeah. The first of them, some of them had 5 speeds, and then in order to get the top speed out of the cars, they developed a 6-speed for it. So that's exactly what it's out of. Yeah.
Right.
And it was designed and manufactured so it would go in a G-series chassis. And I came across one overseas, and I don't know how many it is, but there's probably 30 of them built in the world or something like that. Maybe more. But I came across it, and me being me, I thought, I have to have that. Didn't know the condition, and it was, it took a while to actually purchase because I thought it was a bit of a. I found it online somewhere. It wasn't really for sale, and I chased him up, and it turns out it was for sale 10 years earlier, and yet he still had it, and it was this long negotiation. Anyway, so I ended up getting it and brought it back and pulled it apart, and it was fine, and rebuilt bits and pieces. Anyway, so around that, I sort of had this gearbox, and no car, mind you. I just had a gearbox, and then this chassis came up, and I think I sort of thought, right, now I've got a place for the gearbox in terms of, I'm going to build something that's a bit retro moddy, a bit sort of interesting. So it's a 1980 SC, so G series, same as this in terms of general look, which will end up having a 6-speed Roof gearbox in it with a bigger engine. So it'll go from a 3 litre. I'm building a 3.6 litre engine for it.
So you won't be able to see any indication of that whatsoever from the outside, or?
Well, I'm going to. The look will change.
Right.
So I'm actually going to backdate it. Okay. So it'll end up being like a 73 shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All steel. So I'm not really after the lightest car in the world. I think with a big engine it'll be fast enough. Sure. But big brakes, good suspension.
You better give us a little bit of a reveal.
Well, there's nothing to reveal.
Well.
There's nothing to reveal. No, but this is how they start.
Yeah,
this is the reality to how they start. You certainly it hasn't been cut, but so at this point in time, it's down to a bare shell. A few more wires to remove, and then
you fill in the sunroof.
probably replace the roof with a complete roof to get rid of the sunroof.
Right. Okay.
Yep. You can actually remove the cassette, and then you can fill it. Yeah, but welding them in creates distortion and other issues. Right. So sometimes it's just simpler, and certainly the panel shop love it when they just have a roof.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So when did you buy the?
Well, I probably bought the gearbox 12 months ago.
All right. Oh.
And then this came.
Not 12 years ago then.
No, 12 months ago. And then this came about probably 3 or 4 months after that.
Cool.
So,
You set a date?
No, I should do. But I'm sort of 50% through the engine. So you'll have an engine and a gearbox, and I've got all the suspension, I've got all the bodywork. Undecided about the seats, some of the finer detail, but there's a lot of it that's already sorted.
Well, this amongst.
So this will be an interesting one moving forward. But,
well, this amongst many of the other projects that are going on here, it'd be great to follow them as they progress. Thanks for letting us come in today. And
no, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll be back.
Definitely.
Great stuff.
Now I have to put a date on it.
Nice.